Hello, thank you so much for joining me today. Yesterday, January 2nd, 2025, was my 1 year book anniversary. So that day last year, I published my debut novel, The Untamed World. If you want to help me celebrate, please leave some party emojis in the comments below. I self-published my book, The Untamed World, with KDP and Draft to Digital. We're going to take a look at some of the report numbers from those two companies for the amount of books that I've sold in a year. But first, I want to show you the trailer that I made for The Untamed World. Now just keep in mind, this was the first trailer that I've ever made, so please be kind. But here it is. That trailer was kind of fun to make, and it's something else I want to look more into, making trailers, but I think I'm going to wait a little bit closer to when I publish the sequel to The Untamed World. So that is an entirely different video. On to how my book did in its first year. On Amazon, I still have a 5-star rating, but I only have 4 ratings with 2 written reviews. So that could change. I've also had other readers tell me how they've enjoyed my book. And really, those are the words that really touch my heart, and I'm so happy to see them and hear them because you are the readers that I am writing for. I know having reviews on Amazon is definitely beneficial, it helps. But honestly, before I got into the indie author community, I had no idea about doing reviews or that they were important or made any difference at all, really. So I never even bothered doing those before I was published myself. I absolutely appreciate the reviews and the stars that I get on Amazon, but I just don't feel up to asking people for them. I'm happy if people want to let me know personally or through a message or a post on social media that they enjoyed my book or what they think about it. I'm sure all authors can appreciate the vulnerable feelings it takes really to put your work out there. And honestly, I think that's why it took me so long to really look into publishing my work, because I just felt like maybe it's not good enough, or, what if people don't like it? Which honestly, people are not going to like it. People are going to like it, and then it's not everyone's taste. So that's the thing, is entertainment, and in particular with us, with books, it's all relative. You find your niche or your group of people that do enjoy it, and that's what counts. I knew I had a story that I wanted to share with people, so that's what eventually helped me to overcome those feelings of self-doubt and what ifs. And so I really do appreciate hearing the commendation and what people think about my book. Next, we're going to take a look at the numbers of books that I sold in the year. Now, I knew going in, I was not going to make much money off of it. I wasn't going to sell too many books because I'm a brand new author. I only have 1 book published. So my expectations were quite low. I was just happy to sell anything, really. All right, so here are the reports we'll start with KDP. So here they are. I sold 13 books for The Untamed World. There were 2 ebooks that were sold and 11 print books. On to Draft to Digital, there were 2 sales from Apple, 3 sales from Hoopla, and 1 sale from Overdrive. So in total, for my first year, I sold 19 books. I'm thrilled that I was able to sell some to the library. So that was always a dream of mine, was to have my book, if I did publish one, in the library. I'm so thrilled to be able to go into the library and I see the printed version of my book on the shelf in the library. And then there's also Hoopla that has my book, which I want to touch on that briefly. If you are interested in reading my book, but you don't have the funds to buy it at the moment, or if you are like me and you would like to read from a new author first to see what their work is like, or if it's the type of story that you're interested in, I love the library. So if you want to read my book without actually buying it, check out Hoopla. It is on there for free that you can read as an ebook. If you want a paperback copy, you can always ask your library to purchase it. I know on mine, I can request paperback books to be bought by the library right on their website. So I will put all of the information that you need to request it from your library in the description below. So if you're interested in that, then feel free to check that out. And it would also be a great help to me as well. So back to my numbers, is that 5 of the sales were from the library. So like I said, my library bought 1 paperback copy, and then there is one from Overdrive. So somebody's library app bought one of my ebooks, and on Hoopla. So there were 3 sales from that. Hoopla did take a while to actually publish my book on their site, but I'm so happy that it is there. Because like I said, it does give that free option for people to be able to read my book. And I still do make a little bit of money off of it. It's not very much, but it's something. And I mean, it's just exciting to see that somebody took the book out. And like I said, I love using the library for reading. And if I do read a book that I absolutely love, or if there's a series, or I want to reread the book again after, I usually do purchase the book. So then I have my own copy at home as well for my personal library. I've seen so many different indie author books on social media that I do want to check out. And I'm so excited when I see them on Hoopla or even my Libby app. So I save those into my favorites so that when I get around to it, then I can borrow them and be able to read them. So yeah, having my book in the library is definitely a dream come true for me. I'm so happy about that. I've said it in other videos of mine that it took me years to write this book. Years. I thought that I would show you a bit of the history of my novel. So let's take a look at that. This binder is from when I started writing my novel, which was all the way back in grade 11. I don't even want to think about that. But yes, all the way back in grade 11. So let's take a look at what's inside. I printed out so many copies of my book for doing editing. I have just like random chapters that I printed out. I've got all of these little books and tons of papers printed. Actually, this one has a sketch of the Minwa that are inside my book. My sister drew it for a project in school, and so I used it on this cover. I do have the finished version of that. It's got color and everything. And then there was also, I'm pretty sure, a flower that was from my novel as well that she drew. I don't know where they are at the moment, but if I can find them sometime down the road, I will post it somewhere, maybe on social media or something. Oh, here is a notebook that I wrote all my different notes when I was editing the very first time. When I would come across a spot that I needed to write a whole new scene or more dialogue and it just wouldn't fit on the page for my editing, then I would jot it down in here. So we got number 1, and then I would just write everything I needed to. And then when I came to editing on the computer, I can just open this up and then type it out where I needed it to be. It definitely was an extra step, but I love notebooks and pens. So, you know, it was worth it for me. I tried my hand at drawing myself, but I am a terrible drawer. I would love to be able to draw some pictures of my characters or new creatures or plants, flowers from my book, but I am no good at that. I did make little diagrams though, like this is for the garden that's in my book. Here was a rough draft of the map for my book, which I mean, it's completely different now, but that was one of the first. Same with the layout of the cabin. Again, it's actually very different than that, but it's fascinating to look back on the history of your work and seeing the progress of it. Here is the very first manuscript of my novel. That was from many years ago. I ended up taking a writing course in 2010 that really helped me with my writing skills. And so basically, I had to rewrite my entire novel. I kept the main idea of my story, but I just restructured it and reworded things and just tightened things up. That there was a lot of fluff and stuff that didn't need to be in my book. So I learned how to take care of that. And now I would like to read a portion of my novel, The Untamed World, just to whet your appetite. Here it goes. Prologue, June 3rd, 1914. In the town of Sandwich, Ontario, there is a house overtop a general store. Inside this house, there are two men, a father and his son, standing inside the living room and looking displeased. Robert Jones, I insist you gather your things together. We leave tonight, the father says. I am not going with you. My place is here, father. No, your place is by my side. This shop is nothing compared to the legacy I have for you. In our new home, you will flourish, your learning unlimited, his father says, glowing as he looks past Robert, out the window to the river in the distance. I have had enough training. When my time comes, I know what to do. However, I want to stay here. I am needed here, Robert insists. Is it that girl? There are plenty of pretty faces where we are going. But I love her, Robert answers simply. Then take her with us. Father, that simple lifestyle is not what I want. I like living in town. I like the noise, the advancements, and the new technologies. There is so much potential in our time, right here, and I do not want to miss it. This is a new and golden age. Good things are going to happen. You disappoint me, son, but if your mind is made up, I will ask no further. But know this, you are cutting yourself from our lives, the father says, standing up. You will see me one more time in your life, and that is when my responsibility will be turned over to you. With that, the father calls his wife and daughter to join him in the living room. They say a tearful farewell to son and brother. The daughter cries and begs to stay behind with her brother, but this is prohibited. It is one thing for a son to branch out on his own, but not his daughter. The mother gently pries her daughter from her son and holds her close. With one more goodbye, they disappear as a family forever from Robert's life. Chapter 1. Is This a Dream? Present day. Today is the day every student waits for, the last day of school. After exams, I, Caitlin Freilich, am a graduate. To celebrate our graduation, my last period classmates are camping this weekend to relax before exams start on Monday. And before we leave, we're having a pizza party. My younger sister, Alicia, is skipping class and joining us for pizza. I quickly check my appearance in my locker mirror, smoothing my long brown hair and seeing that none of my eyeliner is smudged, before slamming the door shut and locking it. Along with my fellow students, I rush to make it in time for class. The bell loudly rings as I spin myself around and plop into my chair. Here comes Sir, the best teacher ever, carrying the pizza. He drops the 4 boxes onto his desk and separates the deluxe from the pepperoni and cheese. Mr. Jones's eyes sparkle with amusement as he says, "I have to run across the hall. I think I can trust you all to eat your pizza and stay out of mischief." Everyone grabs some pizza and lounges around. I take a couple of bites from my deluxe pizza, enjoying each morsel. All of a sudden, my head starts to spin. Everything around me starts to fade as I slip off of my chair and fall onto the floor. I become conscious. Birds squawking above fill my ears. Opening my eyes reveals a blue, cloudless sky. Where am I? I prop myself up on one arm and see I am on a beautiful yet unfamiliar beach. A handful of white sand slips through my fingers. Is this a dream? "What's going on?" A male voice jolts me to reality. I shake my head and stand up. It doesn't make any sense. We were eating pizza safely in the classroom, and now we're here, wherever here is. My chest becomes tight and it's hard to breathe. "Oh my goodness, Kate!" my grade 10 sister Alicia cries and hugs me. I cling onto her tightly, then look her over to make sure she hasn't been injured. My fraternal twin Danny joins us, which gives me strength. "What do you think is going on?" Danny asks, blue eyes surveying the surroundings. "I don't remember leaving school to come here. Do you?" "No, I don't," I answer, slowly shaking my head. Looking around, I see 6 others on the beach. My friend George, a taller guy with brown, wavy hair, tanned skin, and green eyes, walks over to my other friend, Dave. Dave is shorter, just a tad bit taller than me, with dark brown hair, skin, and eyes. Andrea, a girly girl with medium-length, bleach blonde hair and hazel eyes, shakes her head in disbelief, and she reaches for her purse, pulls out her cell phone, and keeps trying to call someone. The short, curly redhead Sherry is sitting on the sand crying with her head in her hands. The muscular jock Dan keeps looking at the body of water in front of us and back to the forest behind us, as if on defense. The greasy blonde named Craig is standing in the same spot as when I woke up, staring wide-eyed into the woods. George and Dave walk over to us. "Do you guys remember anything?" Dave asks, running his hand through his short, dark brown hair. The 3 of us shake our heads. "What are we going to do?" Alicia asks, her shoulder-length curls swaying as she moves her head between me and the others. Good question. What are we supposed to do? My brain is numb. The question is, how did we get here? I say, a stone in the pit of my stomach. "Yeah, we were in the classroom and then, boom, here we are," George adds, green eyes wide. "Does anyone remember seeing anything happen in the classroom that could have explained this?" I ask. "Not really," Dave says. "I just finished my piece of pizza and was going to grab more. I didn't pay attention to anything else." "Maybe the pizza was drugged," I suggest with a shrug. "But why?" Danny asks, pulling her long blonde hair to one side. "To kidnap us and bring us to some beach? Why would anyone do that?" "I don't know. Maybe for some experiment or something," I say, wrapping my arms around myself. "Maybe to see how we would cope or survive on our own?" "You have such a crazy imagination," Danny says, nudging my shoulder with hers. "Again, why would anyone do something like that?" Dave asks, brown brow furrowed. "Besides, why would they only bring part of our class and not everyone?" "Well, maybe the others in our class are in a different environment, or maybe they are here, just somewhere else," I answer. "We haven't explored at all, so maybe they're just inside the woods." "Kate, I doubt anyone is experimenting on us. Danny says with a sympathetic smile. But that would be an interesting movie. Besides, there's a little flaw in your theory, George states, Dimples smiling. Oh, yeah? What's that? I ask playfully, hands on my hips. I didn't eat any pizza, remember? I'm intolerant to dairy, George replies. Right. Well, that doesn't make sense. Do you remember anything? Not a thing, he says, slightly shaking his head no. A scream interrupts our conversation. Craig screeches, What? What is that? He points in the direction of the forest. I saw it too, Alicia states, wide-eyed. It looked like a monster. By this time, the 9 of us on the beach have grouped together, staring for a sign of this beast. We have no weapon to defend ourselves if something should attack us. We're going to die, cries Craig, his scrawny arms flailing. What happens next? Do they find out how they got there? Why they're there? Do they find a way home? And where is this beach? Do they encounter that scary monster? Can they survive on their own? And what does that family in the prologue have to do with the story? Read The Untamed World to find out. Again, if you can't buy it or you don't want to buy it, you can read it for free on Hoopla. But if you are interested in purchasing my book, the link is in the description. Thank you so much for being a part of this journey. I look forward to seeing what another year brings. Take care, and I will see you next time.